24 in 24. William Byron wins the Daytona 500. Let's talk about the race and much more in this episode of Running with the Pack. So yes, as I said in the intro, William Byron did win the Daytona 500 in 2024, driving the number 24 car, a beautiful white flame scheme. And it happens to be the 40th anniversary of Rick Hendrick and Hendrick Motorsports' first Daytona 500 race entered. So, massive congratulations to them. We'll get into the top finishers, but I just got done watching this race, and I have a lot of things. I want to talk about. We've got wrecks, we've got close finishes, and we've got a lot to talk about. So, first things first, again, I want to extend a massive congratulations to the 24 team and William Byron for winning the Daytona 500. Last time the 24 car won the Daytona 500, I believe it was with Jeff Gordon in 2007 to kick off that amazing season for him. So, if we could see a similar season out of William Byron this year, I think that would be amazing. But, Byron coming off of objectively his best season in the NASCAR Cup Series, coming away with the win. I don't know if you could get much better than that. So, massive congratulations once again, William Byron. Real quick, I just want to go ahead and put up over here the some of the top finishers that I want to talk about. So, we'll start off with, obviously, we just talked about William Byron, so we'll talk about the guy he hedged out for the win, which was Alex Bowman, coming up second by .006, all based off of time of caution, as there was a crash coming across the start-finish line. So it all came down to time of caution, and it looks to be one of the closest Daytona 500s in history. Based on, obviously, trying to find time of caution. I know that technically those don't count as closest 500s in history. They like to count those as only ones that actually finished under the green flag. So maybe technically it doesn't count, but I'm gonna count it. Alex Bowman, so close. I would not put it past Alex Bowman to end up on the list of Daytona 500 winners here in the near future. Then you've got Christopher Bell coming home with a very close third place finish. He fought all day. He worked his way through. He had some good runs at times, but ultimately he just did not have the teammate help at the end. Although there were a lot of Toyotas near the front, which you can see in the, if you know the names over there. But ultimately he just wasn't able to get the right help at the right time. And Christopher Bell ends up coming home third. Fourth, Corey LaJoie and the Spire Motorsports Group. The Spire Motorsports Group is here to prove that they are a legit contender, and coming up top 5 in the Daytona 500. And honestly, Zane Smith looked very impressive as well. Carson Hocevar, unfortunately, taken out of the race almost immediately, so we didn't get to see what Hocevar had in him. But on that last restart, both of the Spire cars were up inside the top 5. Or inside the top 10, I mean. Ultimately, LaJoie gets into the top 5. Zane Smith did end up getting shuffled out on the final restart. But, again, massive congratulations to the Spire Motorsports team. Then you got Bubba Wallace coming up inside the top 5 in the Daytona 500 once again. I don't know how many times you can throw this guy into the top 10 and even the top 5 and not expect him to win one of these. I mean, he was second in 2018, second in 2022, now fifth. I mean, he's just been knocking these out of the park left and right for Bubba Wallace, and he comes home fifth again tonight. We'll be heading to Atlanta next week, another super speedway style track, so Byron has a chance to win back-to-back super speedway races. You got Corey LaJoie, whose best run of his career came at Atlanta a couple of years ago. And then you've got Bubba Wallace potentially looking for another win as well. Speaking of guys who are good on drafting tracks, you got Ajallmendinger coming up 6th place here in the Daytona 500. and say in a part-time effort. I do not know if he's driving that car next week. I would have to look at the schedule, and I have not looked at that. But massive congratulations. Getting ready to go watch him race in the NASCAR Xfinity Series race. Definitely going to be rooting him on there. Then we got John Hunter Nemechek and Erikjones, the pair from Legacy Motor Club. As someone who was definitely questioning their competitiveness when they made the move from Toyota, or the move over to Toyota, thinking that they might be a bit behind on the time charts, they have definitely impressed with what they've been able to do in this time frame. So massive congratulations to both of them. John Hunter Nemechek coming home 7th, Erikjones 8th. And then to round it out, another team that I was definitely questioning, and I think the questions still have to exist for both Noah Gragson and Chase Briscoe, the two drivers out of Stewart-Haas Racing. But it's hard not to say that they are very deserving of these placements. I know a lot of people, myself included, were questioning, okay, they're saying that there's no more joking around at the SHR team or whatever, but we needed to see real results. And I don't know if I count the Daytona 500 as real results, but the fact that you were able to get up into the fight there shows that you're at least moving in the right direction, I feel. And going forward, I hope to see them inside the top 10 more and more. So some good finishes there, and that concludes the top finishers. Although I do want to give a quick shout out and mention one thing. Kyle Busch, in his 19th Daytona 500, comes up short. He will end up. He ends up with a 12th place finish here tonight. So, man, as a Kyle Busch fan, it just keeps biting us. We keep getting close and close and closer to the Daytona 500 win. Maybe next year, in our 20 years of trying, maybe then we can go and get the 20 years of trying to win the 500 for Kyle Busch. But until next year, I guess we're waiting for another 500 win. Now we just set our sights on the championship. So there were a couple of other things I wanted to talk about, though, now that we're done talking about some of the top finishers. And that was the style of race that we saw. We saw a significantly different style of race as opposed to what we've seen the rest of the season. Because the rest of this season, we have seen a lot of very clean racing, and we've seen a lot of drivers kind of fighting to get into these spots. But throughout the night, we never really saw, until the final few restarts, we never really saw anything get out of hand. So yeah, until the final couple of restarts, everything was very much out of the ordinary for NASCAR standards. We had one crash very early in the race, which, I mean, fair enough, that happens. But then we went for like 3 hours without another crash, which is incredible and unheard of for today's standards. We had, I think, 30 cars still on the lead lap when the big one struck. And it was just a push gone wrong for William Byron and Alex Bowman. Ultimately, they both come away with a top 2 finish after being the cause of the big one. So, I mean, what does that say about the guys who caused the big one? But, William Byron and Alex Bowman being the key players in the big one ends up going and being that. But, so many cars taken out in that wreck. I mean, Joey Logano, another Daytona 500 where he looked like the best car, led the most laps in the race, and then just comes up short. Same thing with Brad Keselowski. For the second year in a row, he looked like a contender. And he came up short due to being involved in a big wreck. Sounds familiar, doesn't it? Then just a lot of cars involved in wrecks. I mean, so coming across the checkered flag to collect the, to try and go for the win, Ross Chastain spins out across the grass. He was putting on some insane level blocks, trying to go ahead and get the win. and ultimately the win comes up just short for Ross Chastain as he goes and spins out. But he was putting on some insane blocks. We ultimately knew it was going to lead to a wreck, and he ended up being the thing that stacked up everybody at the end. But the fact that he put up such a good fight, I mean, hey, I don't anticipate him going winless for long. I would anticipate seeing him in contention to win more Daytona 500s, and we'll have to just wait and see when he ends up getting the win. So, then the one last thing I wanted to talk about before kind of going and hopping off the recap was the very first wreck. It happened so long ago, I just kind of wanted to mention it at the end before I forget. But yeah, just a very bad situation. You had Harrison Burton go spinning across the grass after a merge into the top lane just didn't work out for John Hunter Nemechek. Nemechek tried to merge into the top lane, didn't really have got a push at the same time. Got loose, came down the track, hit Burton into the grass, and Burton was on a slide from there. And he came back up into the track, collecting Hocevar in his first Daytona 500, and Kaz Grala got collected in that one as well. So just a real bummer for those three drivers who really never got a chance to even run in the race. Ryan Preece was also significantly affected in that race, but he actually made it to the checkered flag of the race, and I believe he even finished on the lead lap. No, he finished one lap down, but yeah, so that was, I think, most of the incidents of the night. Again, the biggest players being that the Fords were still very fast. The Hendrick Chevys, though, breaking their Daytona 500 winless streak on the same year that they broke their streak of Daytona 500 pole awards for their engine company. So that when they finally stopped shooting for the pole, they finally won the race, which honestly is, I think, as good as you can imagine. I mean, literally, the pole sitters since the last Daytona 500 win for the company of Hendrick Motorsports were Jeff Gordon, Elliott, Bowman, Byron, Stenhouse, Bowman, Larson, and then this year. So, I mean, literally, they had an unbelievable streak going, but they got the Daytona 500 win, and honestly, I think that's what they came into Florida looking for this year. Last year, it felt like trying to lock out the top 4 starting spots was the goal, and they locked out the front row, but they weren't able to win the race. So this year they end up winning the race again. One more time, massive congratulations to William Byron. We've got Atlanta Motor Speedway next week at 3 p.m. Sunday afternoon. Hopefully that race isn't rain delayed, but if you guys enjoyed this video or enjoyed the race, please hit the like button on the video. Subscribe if you guys are new so you guys don't miss any future videos or live streams. We streamed this race. We're about to go stream the NASCAR Xfinity Series race, but until next time, hopefully you guys enjoyed, and I will see you guys next video, live stream, whatever you guys decide to do with the rest of your day. Have a great day, everybody, and goodbye!